lot of suffering. Now, I am not going to address your inner imposter or critic or shadow today. If that's something that's coming up for you at the end, I will make an offer that allows us to go deeper into that space that isn't here. I want you to know that this is normal, that we all have it, and that it is a part of the internal compass process. We cannot feel good and move with power all the time. The human experience and the human spectrum is larger. So we must get used to moving between all of those places and doing so with ease. So let's head to the next slide. Now, here's the thing about your internal compass. The north, your south, you've got your east and your west. And so it often feels like your north is at odds with your south. There are these two parts of you and they're pulling in different directions. That is totally normal. That is why I use this metaphor, because the work of understanding and knowing your internal compass allows you to get to know your north, to get to know your south, and figure out how they can work together in conjunction. Now, we will be exploring just one place, just one of those places today. But you might actually know already that there are two places and they're kind of at odds and you want to know how they work together. And that is a perfect place for us to explore. So let's dive in here and actually get you into the exploration of your internal compass now that we've covered some of the pieces about it. So let's hop to the next slide. We are going to do a quick jot. So you're going to go back to your worksheet. And if you don't have your worksheet, I'm going to read these two prompts to you. And I want you to just jot down as many things as you can think of. Here's what I want to invite you into. Loving the lost space, loving the confusing space, sitting down long enough to hear all of the information and the wisdom that you already have to know what to do next. And this is one of my favorite quotes: going, loving, leaving, returning, all. He thought he'd done it all wrong. He thought he had lost his way. He had. Being lost is the way, I tried to tell him. How else can you be found? I want us to embrace the lost moments. Em, I think you are unmuted. Will you just mute yourself?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so first two prompts. You're going to finish the sentence with as many things as you can think of. What we are doing here is we are going to try to stir up some of the things that live inside you internally. I want to play with what's already inside. And I want to see what comes up. We are looking for some big themes that might tell us what your internal compass is. Again, we're going to choose one space, but we're going to see if we can dump as much on the table so we have lots to choose from. So finish this sentence. I crave ... Tell me about as many things that you crave. Chocolate counts, but so do long and luscious dinners with friends. So do a robust friendship network. So do having 1 to 2 mentors that you can call on regularly to ask for their wisdom and advice. So does a career that feels fulfilling. Tell me about what you crave. I want to invite you also to pop that into the chat box. Yes, exactly, perfect. Sometimes our things, the things that we think we crave kind of all by ourselves, other people crave too. And not everyone has the language. So they might want to look through some of the things that you've mentioned because that might be true for them too. And the other invitation is sometimes just saying it helps us own the power of it. Yes. Direction, purpose, these things can be really powerful. helping, hosting. Yeah. These are really juicy. Okay. Keep going with this. You might add to this. Don't worry if it's in order or not. Go back, pop them into the chat box. Yes. Connect with each other. There are ways of connecting with each other here too. I see connections, and that is so profound that we might be able to connect just with an invitation. And so let's go to the next one. I need to give myself permission to be bold here. Say the thing that feels vulnerable. Say the thing that feels scary. Say the thing that brings tears. Say the thing here that you feel like you can't even write in your journal. I need to give myself permission to. Oh, these are so beautiful. Yeah, oh, these are so, so good. Okay, we are going to have some really cool places to play here. So cool. Perfect. Keep these coming. I'm going to come back to these because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these in a couple of minutes. So even if I haven't spoken to it yet, what I'm going to do is come back and we're going to start to play with language here. These are amazing. Oh, wow. Patty, really profound stuff. Patty, go a little bit deeper for me. Tell me about why permission for those things. What would that give you? What kind of freedoms would those come with? Yes. Okay. Okay, this next part, so in your worksheet, what I asked you to do was to imagine your life as a mountain range. We are, just going to check my timing, we're not going to use this today because you've already given me such rich places here. But I'm giving this to you because sometimes looking back at our mountain ranges, and here's what I want to say about this. The mountain range of your life is profound and it's vast. And the peaks have a great view. They are incredible. So really writing about the moments where you felt a peak is going to tell you more about your places of power and strength with your internal compass. But here's this quote that I heard recently. The view at the top of a peak is great, but the opportunity lives in the valleys. And so the second part of this page in the worksheet, your life mountain range, is really mining the valleys. There is great opportunity for you there in your fears, in the depth, in the darkness, if you are willing and courageous to dive with yourself and to understand the vastness of who you are. And so I'm going to leave this one for now. If you didn't download the worksheet, no worries. You have a link to it. You'll have time to do this at another point. But you've already given me such juicy stuff, and I want us to take it a little bit further. Oh, I love that there's conversation happening here. Okay, you wrote about your cravings and you wrote about the spaces where you need permission. And what I want us to do is boil them down into a couple of themes or words or phrases that resonate. And so you're going to snag a word or a theme that kind of stands out. And so let me go back. I'm going to look back and I'm going to offer a few suggestions. You don't have to use mine. They don't have to be right. But I am seeing some things that will allow us to start to play with your internal compass. Let's see. Oh man, okay, so I'm seeing, like from Robin, letting go of bad relationships, not feeling guilty, moving on. So words I might think about: letting go, releasing, not feeling guilty. For me, that would be a feeling of lightness, moving on, exploration. Oh man, from Jacqueline, I see permission to fail, embracing instability, trusting things will work out. I would put words like trust. Um, Embracing instability. I might even put like embrace unknown. I might want to explore that more. Again, none of these things are things you have to use. You might want to come back and explore them because the process we use today, you can use over and over. Jade wrote being lost in life, being okay with navigating around. I might use words like adventure or play or explore or open for this next part. Now, Sophia, I love your words. I want to tap on security for a minute. There is most of us have a desire for some sort of security and stability, and that is not bad at all. It can be really powerful. What I want to invite you to think about, usually safety and security are pointing to the thing that we want after them, meaning that when you feel safe or secure, then you will feel like you can go on adventures. Then you will feel like you can have love. Then you will. So do you get what I'm saying? Security and safety are usually, they're the bottom of that pyramid. And we might start there, but most likely you're hoping that it's going to bring you somewhere else. And we want to think about how to orient to that other thing. Now, I will share that one of my internal compass points is stability. I want to be stable in body, heart, and mind so that I'm not reacting, that I'm moving with surety. And so there might be, maybe security is that for you, but I want to just throw out sort of an expansive view around what we might choose there. Ooh, light at the end of that tunnel. The bright light. Yes. Okay. Newness. Julia, I love this. Okay. So choose one word, choose one phrase. And then, if we can go to the next slide, I'm going to share a little bit about how we're going to use this mind map next. I think there's like an animation here. So one of my pieces of my internal compass is play. And so when I started to make a mind map around play, because the question for me is, well, how can I play with this? Even when I'm in the mundane of Excel spreadsheets and marketing plans and thoughts about where I'm going next, for me, it has got to be an act of play, or it is boring and it is draining and I don't want to do it. So what is play to me? Well, improv is a way that I play. Both in regular relationships, try having an argument in gibberish. It makes everything better. Play, long runs with friends feel like play. Hiking, that freedom outside, it feels like play. Telling stories, right? Nourish sent me on this journey, and what I realized was something that I love about stories is the playfulness with which I tell them and other folks tell them, and the playfulness that I feel in hearing them. Play is writing for me. Play brings up thoughts of wonder and curiosity and silly. I feel silly when I get to play. It makes me take the seriousness down a peg. My anxiety, whoosh, it drops, right? So whatever your word is, I want you to pop it into, and on the worksheet, there's a space for you to mind map what other words and phrases come to mind when you start thinking about your word. Let me just check on time. Okay. I'm going to ask some funny questions. Don't think too hard about this. Just jot these onto your mind map. If this word, if your internal compass point right here, if it had an article of clothing, if there was an article of clothing you could put on and it would embody this, what would it be? A tiara, a cape, a shawl, a fun dress, hiking boots. What would it be? And if this piece of your internal compass that we're exploring right now, if it had a color, what color would it be? Now here is where I want to make an invitation. So the invitation is join me. Will you join me? Will you be brave and courageous? And if you choose not to, sometimes that is also a brave and courageous move. There is no right move here, but I'm wondering if there's someone that would be willing to hop on and to just share with their voice some of the words on their mind map. And like I said, we're not going to do video conferencing. Actually, we are going to keep it voice only, because I am going to ask you to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to ask you to play a little bit in your body and to make a practice of noticing what comes up. And I want to do this because, one, you're going to have a powerful experience. We're going to learn about your internal compass, what it is, and maybe even what it isn't. And this is going to help you go deeper into knowing the other points of your internal compass. For those listening, I want you to just notice the kinds of things I ask, and just get a little bit of insight about how you could even take this deeper after our time together. Who will join me?
At this time, first of all, Teddy, my dog, is making his presence known, so I apologize. If anyone who is joining us via the web would like to be mic'd, simply use the button to raise your hand. And then I should be able to find a volunteer. We need a brave volunteer to raise your virtual hand. Oh, we got one. Okay, Cran. Cran, I'm coming your way, and we are about to invite you to join us as a panelist. You're going to get a prompt in a moment that will then turn your mic on.
Cran, hi. Okay, so you're on mute.
I'm going to unmute her. Okay, Cran,
okay, great.
Can you hear you now?
And by the way, just so you know, my name is Eileen. My nieces and nephews call me Cran Panty. That's why it says that.
Oh,
awesome. Okay, Eileen. What a joy. Okay, Eileen, perfect. So here's what I want you to do. Tell me the word or the phrase that you chose.
I used fun, so it's similar to yours, but I always say to people, if you're going to do something in life, make sure it's fun.
Ah, yes. Okay. All right. Tell me a little bit about some of the pieces that came up in your mind map.
So enjoying other people, traveling, being outside, working in the garden, rehabbing houses and furniture, dinner parties, learning something that I'm really interested, something new about what I'm interested in. So those were the quick come off my list.
Oh my God, they're so good. Okay, what color? If fun had a color, what color would it be?
Orange.
Orange, okay. And article of clothing?
Flip-flops.
Oh man, okay. Tell me a little bit more about how fun feels, because I'm guessing that your dinner parties and working in the garden, both powerful, both fun, but might feel a little bit different.
Yeah, so sometimes fun is even funny, humorous, sometimes hysterical. That's great fun. And sometimes it's just maybe internally enjoyable. Like, so with the learning something new or working in the garden or rehabbing a piece of furniture, there's just a joy in accomplishing that or seeing the end result.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Tell me, this is going to sound interesting, but tell me something that is not fun at all and what makes it not fun.
having a sick family member.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about what that feels like.
Stressful,
Yeah.
sometimes sad, sometimes maddening,
Yeah.
trapping.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so here's what I'm going to have you do for just a couple of minutes is I want you to take a look around the room that you're in. And if you are tied to the computer, like you can't really move that far because it is stationary, then you can't go that far and you need to stay here. But for everyone that's listening, what you're going to do either now or later, when you watch the replay or just on your own time, what I'm going to have you do is look for a place in your house, in your home, in the space that you're in that feels like fun. Don't overthink it, but you're going to go there. And Eileen, you might not be if you are, like I said, tied to the computer. If it's a laptop and you can move it, I want you to take it to another space. We're changing the body chemistry. In order to start to listen and understand what our internal compass is saying, we need to get clear on the way the body feels, and we need to start collecting data and information about how it feels. And sometimes we won't know until we explore. So you're going to move to this other location. This other location feels like fun without overthinking. And once you get there, I'm going to actually, and this is why I decided we won't do video. And this is also for everyone. If you are in a space where no one is watching, I want to invite you to think about your word and to move your body into a space, a pose that feels like fun. Well, for you, for the rest of the audience, it's anything. You're going to move your body in the way, in the word that you wrote down. What would that look like? Eileen, I want you to pose, to put your body in a fun pose, like you are showing it in an improv game, for example. And I want you to hold that pose for a minute, and I want you to just breathe into it. So we're not going to hold our breath. We're actually going to breathe. We're going to notice the spaces of tension. We're going to notice the spaces of maybe looseness or freedom here. Just holding that pose, noticing. And then you're going to take an inhale and an exhale. And you're going to breathe in and you're going to move your body, show your body another way of fun. Change your arms, change your legs, holding a different representation in your body of fun. Just playing with, again, breathing into this space, making sure that we're breathing while we are stretching, playing, exploring. And then you're going to take another inhale in, you're going to exhale, and I want you to actually go ahead and sit down in the space that you're in. And I'm going to read your words back to you. You can either close your eyes, or you can soften your gaze, picking a spot in front of you, letting your eyelids get heavy. All I want us to notice, to pay attention to, is what sensations or feelings you have in your body as I read back some of your words about fun. Again, we're just starting to track, just starting to notice some of that data. So fun feels like enjoying people. It feels like being able to travel or being outside. Fun happens when you are working in the garden. And fun also happens when you are having a dinner party or when you're learning something new that you're interested in. Fun can feel funny. It can feel humorous. It can feel hysterical. It can be like laughter bubbling up and over. Fun would be like putting on flip-flops. It's freeing. It would be orange if it had a color. Sometimes it's this external expression, and sometimes it is this inner pride, sense of accomplishment. And I'm just curious, what do you notice? What's coming up in your body?
I almost want to say sadness.
Tell me a little bit more.
Because I've been restricted from so much of that in my life recently.
Yeah. I am so honored that you are here and that you are sharing. And let me also say that this is totally normal, because when our internal compass has this piece and we want to live here, and it feels like we were restricted or unable or don't know how, or there's just a lot of another kind of emotion like depression or fear or anxiety or sadness, this is the first thing that comes up, because there is a wanting here, and that is totally normal. And it's really important to acknowledge and to engage and to hold first. Frequently, we would try to smother it back down or pretend it doesn't exist. But by doing that, it lives for longer. It has to come up. It has to be heard. It has to come out. So the sadness might be the first thing. So I'm not going to actually rush this. I'm going to hold this. Let me just think for 1 second about, okay. Let me ask the question this way. There are all these things that you told me about, even the hysterical piece, the being able to laugh and to share that part. And I'm curious, though fun is wanted, and the first thing that comes up is sadness, which is, again, totally normal. If fun had like a mantra of sorts, if it could just share a word of wisdom or a reminder, what might it say to you?
Be less concerned about others and take care of yourself.
What would taking care of yourself look like? What's like one, even small thing? Could be big, but what would be the next thing that comes up?
Allowing myself to go away or do something that's good for me.
When's the last time you spent time in the garden?
Last summer.
Okay. Here's the invitation that I want to make. And the invitation is this. When we start working with our I'm stuttering out of so much I want to say. When we start working with our internal compass, it often tells us about the next right step. So that slide with the path in front of you, that path, those next 20 steps will be revealed, but only if we take the next right step. And so I'd be curious about how and or what the taking care of yourself looks like. Maybe it's a trip, maybe it's big travel. And the invitation I also want to put out there is it might be even smaller than that, meaning there might be daily ways that you might need to step away and take care of yourself. And so I want us to just play with and think about what those might be. So I'm going to offer a couple of practices, and it's the same for everyone that's listening. Listening, reading your words back to yourself, maybe asking about what's the wisdom, what would it remind me of? And what might I do next? What would it tell me to do next? Are those crucial ways of figuring out your internal compass, and then the next right step, those things start to make a roadmap for the future. Eileen, I want to say thank you for joining me here. And I want to extend an invite if you'd like to talk further. I'm offering this to everyone, but particularly for you, maybe to hold with some tenderness those spaces, to join me in a 30-minute session. That's totally complimentary, but maybe it would help us really delineate what some of those next steps might be. Thank you for sharing today. Thank you. So let me share a couple of steps to take this further. Emilie, would you mind going to the next slide?
Sure.
So this next right step piece is really what we're trying to get to. Your internal compass is telling you to do a next thing. That one piece that we're starting to explore today, I bet it has wisdom. Maybe it's reaching out on LinkedIn. Maybe it is some substantial act of care. And sometimes that really is going for a walk around the block and taking a minute to breathe. That could be the largest thing you could do right now. We have to do the next thing if we want to know the bigger spaces that we are headed, and we want to be able to trust those. So we're going to go to the next slide. Now, Eileen, I want to invite you here and to everyone that there are some practices to go deeper here. This is not, you're going to get to take a pill and suddenly you're going to see the light and it's going to be amazing. It doesn't work like that. When our body is coming back online, there are lots of sensations that we might feel. And so, for example, Eileen, what I'm wondering is, what kinds of songs might fun play? The sadness will come up at first. We will make space to be with it, but what will come up next is some of those tingly sensations around fun. And so you might, if you really resonate with music, you might want to make a playlist that goes with your word. You want to teach yourself, your brain, to tune into your body. This is a way of aligning your brain and your body. So if you want to feel fun at some point, that you know that you can attune to it by playing this playlist. Unfortunately, we cannot just flip a switch and suddenly feel this way. We have to make a practice in the same way that if you wanted to have an amazing set of abs, you would probably go for a workout and you would probably make some decisions around the kinds of food you are going to eat. Your practices in life are going to allow you to tune in to the way you want to feel. They're going to allow you to tune into that internal compass and to make decisions from there. Now, I read Eileen's mind map back to her, but you could, after this, go back and record yourself reading your mind map and take a few moments to close your eyes and to feel into what that would be like and start to record the body data that's coming up. And the last practice that I want to invite you to, and you don't have to do all these things, different people will try on different things, but I want to invite you into one. Set a daily time and then take an inventory of where you felt. For me, it would be play. What felt playful and what didn't? Now, if you are feeling like you need a little bit, and will you go to the next slide for me? If you are feeling like you need a little bit more personal time and attention, I am happy to do so. I have about 12 slots over the next couple of weeks where you will come with the things that you started to explore, and we will go deep to figure out what your internal compass is saying and to determine those exact next right action steps. And I want to just open here. Are there any questions? Did you, during this time, actually get clear on an action step for you? And if so, I want to invite you to pop it into the chat box right now for a little bit of accountability. And then, Emilie, I want to turn it back to you. I want to say thank you for having me, for welcoming me here, and for making this possible. And then there are some really exciting things that are happening with ways that people can connect with you and with Bossed Up. So I'd love for you to share.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jess. For some reason, FYI, my video won't come back on, so forgive me. But I want to thank you so much, Jess, for joining us. As some of you may already know, Jess is one of our longest serving featured trainers at Bossed Up, and you can see why, because Jess goes so deep and really helps you to clarify where you're headed next. And that's part of what we do in a really deep, hands-on way at Bossed Up Bootcamp, which I encourage you all to consider, especially for women who are navigating the in-between. If you find that you are currently in between where you are and where you want to be, and want to clarify not only your vision for where you want to go, but really come up with a plan for how you're going to get there. That's the work I dive deeper into with my amazing team of trainers, like the featured Jess Lyons here at Bossed Up Bootcamp. Our next one is coming up soon in Chicago at Bossed Up Bootcamp. It's Saturday, Sunday training. We not only help dive into your vision and leave you with an action plan, but you're also going to walk away with hard skills focusing on things like assertive communication, negotiation, mindfulness and happiness, love and relationships, complete with a therapist on site. So this is really a program where we don't just want you to achieve success. We want you to achieve a happy, healthy, and sustainable career path. So if that sounds like something you're looking for, join me in Chicago next month, or you can register now for DC in September and Los Angeles this November. In the meantime, I hope you'll all keep up with this community on Facebook at the Bossed Up Courage community, and I will be emailing you those links very shortly after this webinar. And as a final gift to you, just for joining us live today, you can actually save on Bossed Up Bootcamp, save 20% off of your registration in the next 24 hours if you use the discount code MAY. That's M-A-Y, like the current month that we are in. If you'd like to join us at Bossed Up Bootcamp, the next 24 hours, you can save 20% off with discount code MAY at checkout. Jess, thank you again for joining us today. We will both be in your inboxes real soon, bosses. And in the meantime, check out Jess's site at jessicaleelyons.com and email her to take her up on that very precious offering. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks, Emily.
All right, bosses, have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in and diving in with us this afternoon. I hope the rest of your week goes incredibly well. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.